Okay, hi guys. I am back with a new video, this time on cytopathology. Thank you for all the love that was shown to me in the last video. That was approach to leukemias that I had posted a couple of weeks back. Basically dealing with how to approach leukemias. I'm meant for postgraduates mainly, where I had discussed both clinical and, of course, the pathological features of how to differentiate leukemias. So that done. Now I it थोड़ा time ज़्यादा हो गया. I took a lot of time to post this video because of some personal reasons. But now I'm back and I'll try to post as frequently as possible. So today I'm posting this. I'm going to discuss in short the cytopathology of thyroid lesions, the mimics that you can get, that is the parathyroid lesions that you get in FNA. Basically what I'll be discussing is not the lesion of parathyroid, but when by mistake your needle goes into a parathyroid, how to differentiate whether it is thyroid or parathyroid. Of course, I'm going to be telling you verbally where are the pitfalls, what is important for exams, what is important for practicals, and that is how this entire lecture is based. I'll try to limit myself into 15 to 20 minutes of lecture and not exceed that. So let's quickly start. The heading is non-neoplastic because I've written goiter, cysts, and thyroiditis. But with that, I'll show you the normal histology also. Okay. Before we start with the microscopy of thyroid, each and every one of us has to know about the Bethesda classification. Whenever you are reporting in exams or in your practical life, when you are reporting thyroid, you have to follow the Bethesda classification. So Bethesda has these 5 categories. There is non-diagnostic or unsatisfactory, which will only have clear fluid-like cyst material, or it may just have blood, or the material has just clot, और कुछ artifactual change है, हम उस पर कोई comment नहीं कर सकते. Next comes benign. When do we label something on FNAC as a benign thyroid lesion? Is either we can make out follicular cells or follicles, macro follicles, and colloid in the background, and we know, and mitosis, necrosis, or excessive pleomorphism, because there is some degree of pleomorphism even in benign thyroid. So pleomorphism is not a very characteristic feature in thyroid lesions. So in fact, follicular adenomas, etc., even higher grade, you will get uniform follicles actually. So when we are very sure that either there's a granulomatous appearance in the background, or there is too many lymphocytes in the background with follicular cells and colloid, then we know, okay, fine, this is thyroiditis, or this is just too much colloid. The pavementing, the cracked pavement type appearance, crazy pavementing, where the colloid cracks and makes these kind of things on the slide. जैसे कि आपके पास stone pavements होते हैं, the sidewalks, something like the sidewalk, this is crazy pavementing. So when this happens, then you know that it is too much colloid and it is a benign lesion. Now, one pitfall I would like to discuss over here is when you're seeing lymphocytes and then you see centrocytes, centroblasts, try and look for colloid and follicular epithelial cells. Sometimes there may be an aberrant lymph node where you have put your needle and you're actually looking at a lymph node and not a thyroid. And you might label it as a lymphocytic thyroiditis. Hashimoto's disease, the most common DD that comes there is lymphoma. So when you are looking at a thyroid with too many lymphocytes, or you are looking at a slide which is supposedly thyroid with too many lymphocytes, look for colloid, look for follicular epithelial cells, look for giant cell reaction. And then of course you make your diagnosis. Okay. Then third category is ATP of undetermined significance, or follicular lesions of undetermined significance, where you are not very sure that ये properly benign है. The benign features are there of colloid, uniform nuclei, no mitosis, no necrosis, it may be inflammatory background, or there's some degree of hyperplasia. You're seeing too many follicles, but you know there's some colloid in the background. The nuclear changes are not very marked, and then you are somewhere in the middle. Of course, breast and thyroid are two lesions where radiology is of utmost importance to interpret FNAC. If you do not have radiology, don't try to do the FNAC, because waft changes, that is FNAC, it induced changes in a thyroid lesion, are great mimickers of carcinoma thyroid. So a radiologist might get confused. So when a patient comes to you for thyroid FNAC, always advise radiology first and then go for FNAC. This is a protocol, of course. Practically you have to see what is possible. The fourth criteria is follicular neoplasms or suspicious for follicular neoplasms. So basically you start with thinking about neoplasms from the fourth criteria. Till third you are confused, and first is unsatisfactory, second is benign, third is I don't know. I mean, I'm telling you in layman terms how you can remember. And then fourth criteria is, okay, this is a follicular. Rest all the neoplasms fall in the fifth criteria. That is papillary, medullary, metastatic lymphoma, etc. Okay. Also remember that in the fourth criteria, you need to tell whether it is oncocytic type or not, because it has prognostic importance. Coming to this very good image, not mine. That was also not mine. I have taken it from the net. Why I like this image is because this is explaining to you the Bethesda criteria very properly in one go. Okay. So when I say that, okay, always remember that something which is benign will have a lot of colloid, and as you go towards atypia, the colloid may become like, if it is a papillary thyroid carcinoma, then sticky chewing gum like colloid you are going to see. Sometimes very very watery fine colloid can be there, very scant amount of colloid can be there. So as you go towards malignancy, the colloid will decrease and the cells will increase, and the cellular features will become atypical. So this is how you mota remember what happens. So as you see, benign lesion has a lot of watery colloid to thick colloid to, I mean, too much colloid on the slide. So here you see there is this background of blue colloid and the small nice follicular cells. Again, another small image showing thick colloid and thickest amount of colloid you can see here. This is some sort of a crazy pavementing going on. Crazy pavementing means colloid gets cracks on the slide. Now this is all is benign. So if I'll rub this out and show you, if you see anything like this, you know, these three things, if you see on your slide, you know this is benign. You don't have to think too much. To these days we give a, like, you can give the Bethesda criteria and then you can, you know, give a note what you think it can be. Query cystic lesion, query colloid cyst, query nodular goiter, something like that. Then when you come to the atypia or the follicular lesions of undetermined significance, you are going to see more of cells. If you see over here, this is in between a benign and a malignant. So what you are seeing is too many cells and very well formed follicles. But the colloid in the background is not there. It is very less. Maybe these are RBCs. So compare this thing with this thing, or you know, this thing with this thing. Just compare even this with this. So the colloid has decreased and the cells have increased way too much. Somewhere you might get these, you know, these kind of broken follicles, some sort of, I don't know, some sort of a papillary kind or a follicle sheet like structure. So means cell badha hai and something has decreased. Now this kind of a thick multicolored kind of a colloid, this is not normal. This thing is normal. Okay, this is normal, but this thing is not normal, and you see cells sticking around it. So this points towards, you know, AUS plus neoplasias. In PTCs you get something like this thick colloid, something as if you've eaten a chewing gum and, you know, stuck it on the slide. Then you go to higher, you know, where you to the fourth grade, where you get, yeah, this has to be malignancy. You see how the cells are becoming larger, you can see nucleoli, and they're in sheets and clusters, some holes may be there. And then of course there's frank malignancy, which, you know, you see, and there are sheets and sheets of cells. Papillary thyroid carcinomas will have internuclear inclusions, something known as orphan annii. Now, orphan annii is a histopathological processing defect. Fine. So when a specimen goes through formalin, you'll get that. When that entire, but you don't get that on FNAC because it is a histopathological washing out of defect. You get nuclear grooves, nuclear inclusions, and then you know that this is a PTC. Now let's come to some slides. I started with the benign. Here you see there are hemosiderin-laden cyst kind of macrophages. This could be a hemorrhagic cystic nodule, just a colloidal nodule. The background has this thin watery colloid. Again, there's colloid in the background. And then there are these cyst macrophages. Again, a cystic lesion. Here you can see, is a pointer here. Here you can see granulomas are forming. So this is a granulomatous thyroiditis, decurvence. Here so you see giant cell reaction. Now this giant cell you might confuse with when you have nodular goiter. Then the follicular epithelial cells also make something similar structure, something similar like this, but they are tight balls. They're very tight and circular balls. So basically, this could be a thyroid ball, and this is a giant cell, or this could also be a giant cell, but all this is benign. And then of course in MNG you see these vacuolations in the cytoplasm. It is not very visible over here, but I can see it. You see this. These are cytoplasmic vacuoles. Why you get them? Because the thyroid is hyperplastic and active and actively secreting. That is why. And always remember, if you see the histopath, in histopath look for vacuoles in the colloid. If you're getting vacuoles, that is a sign that the thyroid is actively functioning, actively secreting. That is why those vacuoles are there. So that is a normal thyroid or a benign thyroid, even on histopath. Okay, coming to see, this is lymphocytic thyroiditis. On PAP, you can see that the cells look a little, big, but a lot of lymphocytes and centroblasts, centrocytes. So I'm getting both follicular epithelial cells and the lymphocytes. So this is lymphocytic thyroiditis. Same over here. Now let's come to how the same thing that I showed you. This looks like a very benign thyroid with colloid in the background. Then you see when you go a grade higher, you get these small microfollicles forming, and still I can consider it into benign or grade 3. And then you see that as the malignancy progresses, the cells become discohesive or are in big sheets, and there's a lot of pleomorphism. And then of course I look for these inclusions inside the cell. You will see intranuclear inclusion of PTC, and in this image it is not clear, but inside, supposing this is the nucleus, you'll get a very fine groove like this. So that becomes a malignancy. Okay. Okay, this is a paper. This was published in 2019 by me and my faculty members. And here we described a TB thyroid, which was mimicking a thyroid tumor radiologically. Now, thyroid tuberculosis in itself is a rare entity. And we found a lot of, what we were getting were a lot of follicles. You can, see this paper. I've put images in this paper. This is papers available on the net. And we were getting a lot of follicles, a lot of multinodularity. In one of the septas, there was a granuloma. So you could say, why can't it be decurvence? Was not decurvence because we got AFB also. So this was a rare finding, but on radiology, this was looking like a leukemia. Pardon me, like a malignancy. So that is the role why I say that you should not do any sort of intervention in the thyroid before you do the radiology, because radiology will get confused there what the thing is. Then neoplastic. This is a list of neoplasm that you see. I'm going to discuss NIFT-P properly because NIFT-P is very, very important. And then of course I'll show you a parathyroid slide, but I have shown you. Okay, those were the malignancy slides, which I've already discussed earlier. I have shown you intranuclear grooves and inclusions in that. Basically, what I wanted to discuss is NIFT-P with you. Now, what happens is in NIFT-P that when you look at a histopathology slide, you have to see, supposing this is a thyroid, you have to look for the capsule. This is the capsule, and you have to look for any sort of mushrooming of the thyroid follicles in the capsule. This is a basic thing in follicular carcinoma. Second, you have to look for vessel outside the thyroid parenchyma showing the follicular cells stuck to the vessel wall. Please understand this carefully. In a vessel, the vessel wall shows cells of follicular origin stuck to it. Then that is known as angioinvasion. And whether a mushrooming like this is in the capsule. Sometimes I'm changing the color. You are going to get maybe a thyroid just lying like this. Fine. Or a thyroid over here. That is not invasion of the capsule. There you have to go for serial section. So in a thyroid, if you get a specimen, go for multiple sections just to rule out these two things in follicular neoplasms. On cytology, what I've shown you is the max, that where you will get confused. And there's this criteria in Bethesda that you should get 2 clusters of, I think, 5 cells each, total 10 cells or 10 cells each, to call it adequate. Just like in PAP, they have 6 cells ka criteria. Similar in thyroid also they have it. Bethesda. That is adequacy of a cytopathology slide. NIFT-P is something you can't diagnose on cytopathology. So when you are getting a lot of follicles with papillary nuclear features, then we get, initially we used to call it follicular variant of papillary thyroid carcinoma. Now the things are changing a bit, and hence this entity of NIFT-P has come. It is a follicular thyroid neoplasm which is mimicking, which has papillary like features. एक डिफरेंस समझो, एक था फॉलिकुलर वेरिएंट ऑफ पीटीसी, मतलब पीटीसी है लेकिन फॉलिकल्स बने, यहाँ पे ये फॉलिकुलर है लेकिन इसके न्यूक्लियर फीचर्स पैपिलरी की तरह है. नाउ यू आस्क मी ये हमने कैसे डिसाइड किया? वी डिसाइडेड दिस बिकॉज ऑफ द मॉलिकुलर बेसिस, पीपार गामा, बी रैफ, दीज रेट, मिक, कौन सी म्यूटेशन है, जो कुछ म्यूटेशंस फॉलिकुलर में होती है, सम म्यूटेशंस अकर इन पैपिलरी. By analysis of those mutations, we could come ki okay, this is actually follicular and this is actually thyroid, papillary. All right. So you should know these mutations. These are examples important for the exams. Now coming to this algorithmic approach of what a NIFT-P is like. So let's go ahead. If your tumor is encapsulated, this is histopath, not cytopath. In cytopath, you will not be able to tell about NIFT-P. In cytopath, you can only give these Bethesda and baat khatam. Why I'm discussing histopath here is because this is important. I'll discuss it when I start with histopath lectures also, but this is important, so I'm telling you. So when you get a thyroid sample and you are suspecting some sort of a follicular lesion, you see whether it is encapsulated or well demarcated from the surrounding thyroid parenchyma. If not, then it goes towards infiltrating follicular variant of PTC. Okay, and of course you have to see the nuclear features. But if it is encapsulated or well demarcated, so first point that you come across NIFT-P is that it is well demarcated. Look for invasion of the capsule or the vessel, or the invasion of the vessel as I've shown you. If it is not there, then move ahead towards NIFT-P. If it is there, you can think it is FC with invasion, or some or the variant of follicular encapsulated follicular variant of PTC. If there is a capsule in the well demarcated lesion, then it is not NIFT-P. Either it is a follicular carcinoma or it is a follicular variant of PTC. Okay, so NIFT-P has no capsule, however it is well demarcated. Then moving ahead, if greater than 30% solid insular trabecular area is there in the tumor, or there are greater than 1% true papillae, or there are Samoa bodies, or tall cells or columnar cells are identified, then again shift towards PTC or follicular carcinoma. If not identified, then come down again towards NIFT-P. Then if it is a predominantly follicular pattern, then of course it cannot be PTC. Then you shift, or of follicular adenoma, because they are not predominantly follicular. Then you shift to again towards NIFT-P. Look for tumor necrosis or greater than 3/10 hypophyll mitosis. If it is there, it is carcinoma. If not there, again move towards NIFT-P. Finally, look for papillary nuclear features. If it is there, then of course, if it is there, if there are papillary features in a well demarcated, not encapsulated follicular lesion, then it is NIFT-P. Rest everything go for carcinomas and other follicular neoplasms. So NIFT-P is actually an important histopathological entity where you have to look also for the molecular findings. Finally, in the end, I would like to show you the parathyroid. See, the cells of both thyroid I had shown you and parathyroid are very uniform, जैसे छोटा छोटा दाना की तरह, something like a lymphocyte. But the cytoplasm here has vacuoles and is a little granular and abundant as compared to that of the thyroid. Basically, parathyroid has chief cells and oxyntic cells and fat. A lot of fat is there, so you'll get fat also. So look for fat in the smear if you see. So the pitfall that when you do a thyroid FNAC can only be two. Either you go to a lymph node or you go into parathyroid, or you are having a lymphoma. Rest, the variation of thyroid cells is the same. It is given in Orell's, it is given in Gray's. I don't want to go into detail of how each thyroid lesion looks. Like giant cell lesions, like granulomatous lesions will have giant cells. TB will have epithelioid cells. Then your fire flares, your graves and all those will have fire flares, like there are cluster of thyroid cell and surrounding the cytoplasm phati phati pink hogi. So so these features are there in the book, so you can see the images and remember. The pitfall is that you might go into a lymph node and think it is thyroid. So how to differentiate? Look for follicular epithelial cells or colloid. You might go into a parathyroid. I've shown you how to differentiate. Then plasmacytoid cells might come and you might think it's a lymph node, but remember, medullary carcinoma might have plasmacytoid cells. So these are few pitfalls that you will come across. This is the molecular paper I was telling you. See all the genetic mutations: RAS, BRAF, B53, PPAX8, PPAR gamma, BRAF, MEK, ERF. All these are important, and you should know that which is belonging to the follicular carcinoma pathway, which is belonging to the PTC pathway. Okay, BRAF and all that is PTC, and yeah, RAS, MEK, and ERF and all that is follicular. So images are from Google and publications. I have mentioned the publications. I hope I have limited myself to 20 minutes, and I hope this has helped you. If you have any questions, you can contact me on Messenger. Thank you so much.